So, good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'm going to discuss about the previous experiences and outcomes of the concept of diabetic retinopathy for a general ophthalmologist. So, why the concept was brought in? It was basically brought in for three purposes. The firstly was to empower general ophthalmologists to successfully screen and diagnose the patient, to decide whether to observe or to manage the disease process, and a special focus on the third point, which was to achieve success in the above goals in low or intermediate resource setting, as in the setting of our nation, where a general ophthalmologist has to cater a majority of rural population, especially in the camp area, where the availability of advanced machinery is not there, so artificial intelligence would not work, and an ophthalmologist, he or she must definitely depend on his clinical acumen alone. So now we'll have a look on the chronological evolution of DR4G, the human animal. It all began in 2018 at Kanpur, where a CME with difference was conducted by the same team, where one of the pioneers...
Dr. Abhijat, can you come a bit closer to your this thing so that we become more audible?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, am I audible now? Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, better, much better. Come closer.
Okay. So here, one of the pioneers of ophthalmology, Dr. Lalit Verma, he also gave his important insights to the initiation of this concept. So in the year 2019, another presentation was conducted at UK SOS regarding the same concept. And in the same year, another exercise was conducted at GSPM Medical College, Kanpur, where the residents were explained and eventually the possibility, if it could be applied in the field, started to become a reality. So in the year 2020, we thought of bringing it at a mass level, and for the first time, the concept of DR for Geo was presented at an instruction course at AIUS Gurgaon last year. So now in the year 2021, in the month of May, we conducted an online survey via the Google form where random ophthalmologists were asked questions and their answers were recorded. And right now at Virtual AIUS, we are presenting the same concept but with an evolved insight to it. So this was the voting pad which was given to all the participants last year in the instruction course, where they had 3 buttons and they could give an answer by pressing 1, 2 or 3, which corresponded to yes, no or can't say. So this was an example which was given, and according to that, their responses were recorded. So what was the basis of the course? We chose to inform the participants about the vision-threatening diabetic retinopathy features and to ease the screening and identification of the disease process by the general ophthalmologist. We chose that we should, rather than looking at the clinically significant macular edema, we should go for diabetic macular edema, which is involving center or not. This makes the process of screening and identification very easy. So in the previous instruction course, the training was done in 2 steps. In the first step, we showed simplified photographs of the retinopathy to everyone, and they were given a response time of 30 seconds, after which voting was conducted. And the responses of all the ophthalmologists were recorded and they were shown. So the selection of the participants was done randomly. This was done to mandate participation. So now I'm going to show you some slides which were shown before the participants were taught about any feature. And we asked them a simple question that is this vision-threatening diabetic retinopathy? And they had to answer in 3 like yes, no, or cannot be commented upon. The actual answers were not shown at this time. They were only shown after their responses were recorded. So we can see that this was a response recorded here. In the next slide, again, we could observe a similar kind of response. And like that also, we can see here that again a similar response corresponding to previous slides was observed. So this was a slide which was kept specially, where again we have the same question that is it VTDR, and majority of the population said yes. However, we can see that this is not a VTDR. Definitely it is vision threatening, but this is not diabetic retinopathy. So this was kept because we need to have an idea of some awareness of the fact that general ophthalmologists should know that it is not only vision threatening, but this slide should also be diabetic retinopathy. So similarly, we kept few more slides, and since this is a clear-cut case, majority population could get it right. Again, we could see an erratic response like the previous slide. And since this is also a clear-cut case, the majority population gets it correctly. So to interpret, the responses were quite erratic in nature, and a state of uncertainty and doubt was also. So now comes the second step, where the basic criteria by the International Council of Ophthalmology for diabetic retinopathy was introduced. And again, the pictures of some disease patterns were shown, like the macular edema, vitreous hemorrhage, neovascularization of disc and ulcer, etc. Now the VTDR characteristics were taught to the participants, and again the process of showing a photograph and on-the-spot voting was conducted, and the results were recorded. So this time we again showed them pictures, and the response was seen, but somehow this was similar to the response previous. But then the people, after knowing the features, they started to apply it, and now we can see there is a change in the responses of the participants. This was a slide that was kept previous to the presentation also, and now we can see there's a marked difference in the result, though their answer guess was not correct, but yes, definitely they tried to apply the concept. So again, we can see that in this slide, a special note that the answer here is in a divided form. The participants are not clear about the response here. Since this is a clear-cut case, again everyone gets the correct answer. So like in the slide previous to the one I presented just before, here again the answers are divided among the participants. And as we can see, since this is very clear-cut case, so everyone, almost everyone gets it correct. Here again we can see a divided answer, but this time it is between no or cannot be commented. And again, a very clear-cut case of VTDR where everyone gets the correct response. So the results of after this presentation, we can see that very clearly, majority population gets the answer correctly. And this was 60% of the slides where people could guess very correctly. And there were 20% slides marked in red where the answer was not correct. However, the majority population said that yes, it is VTDR, but in actuality it was not. And there was only 20% slides where people had a divided answer. So these are the statistics which correlate with the artificial intelligence. Thus, we can say that when artificial intelligence can do it, why not a general ophthalmologist can do it? So to interpret on random selection and voting, predictable outcome was recorded and mandate was quite clear in the clear cases. And after this, we need to upgrade the decision-making capacity of all the ophthalmologists. And however, it was doubtful in the borderline cases where we need to work more on how to expand the thinking of ophthalmologists so that they can get the correct answers in borderline cases also. So as I talked before, we conducted an online survey via the Google form where responses of 23 ophthalmologists was recorded. So, but this time we asked that would they like to treat the patient or not? So again, we can see that in slide 1 and 2, the responses are again divided among the population. They are not sure whether we are to do this or not. However, in clear-cut cases, we can again see that majority population wants to treat the patient, which is the correct thing. And this is again a slide which we get repeatedly, and again we can see that people are not sure whether to treat this or not. So in clear-cut cases, the answers are accurate, and hence we just need to educate the ophthalmologists for further management. However, we need to work a lot in borderline cases as the answers were divided and people are still doubtful, and definitely we need to work on it so that people could give answers more appropriately and proceed for further management. Thank you everyone for your patience.
Great, Dr. Abhijat. What I understand is from your presentation, what I understand is that if we present general ophthalmologists with clear-cut cases, their pick rate is very high. Is that all right?
Yes.
And in
Uh,
doubtful cases, they remain quite uncertain. What do you take about it?
Yeah, in clear-cut cases, people are able to identify it very easily. But the cases where it is not clear, so not only a human being, even the computers are not able to identify that do we treat this or do we not treat this. So we could add on few steps, few identifying features by which we can, since we know everyone here knows how the disease progresses, so we can very easily know that if this will progress to be a worsening thing or not, and then we can identify that is it vision threatening or is it not, or will it be in future or not, and then we can decide on the management of the thing.
Great. I think your survey has been very useful to us. And a lot of feedback has come from Dr. Manish also. And as I have mentioned that this program is actually a composite effort by a team. And we are actually evolving a concept which is quite new to our system. I think your presentation has been very useful. You have shared almost everything which we had over a period of last 3 years. And luckily, I think all the studies which were done over a period, we went to PG students and they came out with similar results. We went to general ophthalmologists of various age and they came out with very good positive results. So it shows that there is a very good possibility if we teach them clear guidelines, clear simplified guidelines, they should be able to identify treatable diabetic retinopathy with a reasonable predictability, sensitivity, and specificity. Thank you very much, Dr.